All right. So let's go ahead and see what's going on. The Eight of Swords. We feeling stuck in our thoughts. We feeling trapped. Like we don't really have. We don't really have room to make a mistake, or we don't have a lot of room to do something different. And I don't really like seeing this for you, Aries, because this right here tells me that you are worried about a certain outcome or certain turnout of a certain action. Or perhaps you're not quite sure, like, again, to that point, some of you guys may not be, like, not necessarily aware, but you're just not sure of what to expect now. Like, there may be some things that you're holding on to, or you're holding back from, rather. You're holding back because there's something that, you may be trying to understand a little bit better. Or rather, you don't really know what to expect from something. Oh, the Four of Cups is underneath here. Yeah, you just don't know what to do, what to feel, how to go about making some moves forward. But your emotions, I have to tell you, are the key to the understanding of this. Knowing what you want to feel, knowing what you're feeling and why you're feeling them. Going down that rabbit hole. So let's see why we have the Eight of Swords as your underlying energy. Right here, you have the Four of Swords. I definitely feel like you're waiting on something. You're at a checkmate or a standstill. The Four of Cups and then the Eight of Swords, that tells me that emotionally you can't do anything. Mentally, you can't think of anything. Because emotionally, you've done everything that you could. Like, as far as going after what you want to do, how you want to live your life, how do you want to be in a relationship, or how you want a relationship to go, you've already tried those things. And I feel like with with the Eight of Swords, like you don't really know what to think. You're left hanging. So I feel like with the Four of Swords, you're definitely in a period of pause. There's not something that's on a standstill. And instead of healing, there may be a lot of thinking of what could happen and how something could change, and there's a lot of things disrupting this healing period. But in its way, in its own really interesting, beautiful way, that's healing too. There's something that's coming up that's telling me that you're healing even through this period. Nothing ever is nothing happens to us to hold us back, to block us. Everything has its reasons. So I feel like this is a part of its healing process too. It's just kind of coming to the understanding as to why it's happening and how we can utilize it to the best of our ability. So in the past, we have the Seven of Pentacles. So we were definitely feeling like overworked, if that makes sense. Not overworked, but like it kind of feels like here with the Seven of Pentacles that we had done a lot of work in this relationship, done a lot of work in our life where, of course, sorry, the focusing on this thing is so weird, that we've been putting a lot of effort into something and we're not quite, sure, not sure, I shouldn't say sure, but we honestly have to wait for something to come in. We have to wait for for our work to reflect back to us. Okay? So I kind of get that feeling that's what's happening with the Seven of Pentacles there. Like we're trying right now to just get, to just be patient. I think in the past it was patience. You did the best that you could. You've extended yourself the way that you had to. And right now, there's not much left to do. There's not much left for you to extend. Or here in the past, you noticed that, the work had been done. So it's all a matter of being patient or figuring out what to do in the meantime. Now, I like where your head is at, which is the Six of Cups here in the present. But I feel like with the Six of Cups coming up like that, this telling me that there was a time of happiness that you remember, but that you miss, rather than believe that there's a potential to get back to a place of happiness. Or at least remember a time in which you were happy and actually believe that you can get here. And the reason why I say that is because the Five of Cups is here. So it's like there's a stark difference between the Five of Pentacles and the Six of Cups, because one, you're feeling happy, you're in a place of innocence and just being pure. You're being pure in the moment. That's what I love about the children that come in this card, because this is a representation of being purely innocent and in the moment. You're always in the moment. Children are always in the moment, and you are definitely in the moment in this image. But you're remembering a time where things were happy, things were great, and right now outside it's looking rough as hell. It's looking rough than ever. And it's rather, instead of looking at the world like this, as the Six of Cups, because sometimes even looking at the world from this perspective, like seeing it from rose-tinted glasses, it can be damaging in its own right too. But from seeing it as, oh, remember that time when we used to do this, I wish I can go back, you can. It's just all of the matter of how you've manifested it and the work and how long it's going to take to get there. So, for instance, you've started off on a great path, getting your manifestations going by focusing and putting all your work into this either relationship, and now you're missing it. You're missing something. Not necessarily like you're missing something of the relationship. You know exactly what it is, but you're remembering a time of happiness, but as a time that's different than now, where this is in place instead. So this is reflecting to me where you are right now, seeing the present as something worse than what you want. Instead of shifting that energy, shifting that feeling, those emotions, and focusing on how you can recreate the feeling with what you've got. And I'm not saying that you guys haven't been trying. You have totally been trying. But but there may be something else that you might want to try. And it has to do with seeing the situation as clearly as you can possibly can. Not seeing it, but recreating it with what you've got to work with. Because the Four of Cups is no different than the Five of Cups in my eyes, in the sense of like there's something lacking. There's something that you're not getting something or getting enough of something out of your situation, right? So therefore, you're feeling stuck. You've already gone through certain things. You've already did certain things. There's not much you can do, but feel what you want to feel. And I feel like sometimes it's a concept that goes unappreciated, unrecognized, unnoticed, unheard of. There's a lot of things that kind of slide under the radar with this card. But one of the things I realized is that it's looking at how you feel rather than allowing yourself to conjure up a lot of the things that aren't right in your life, right? Or to count, collect, and keep on file what's wrong with everything. There's nothing wrong with noticing what needs to be changed, but if it's tainting your perspective or tainting the experience in which you're trying to, to make happen, it may have to be put in the back burner for a second. There's nothing wrong with remembering a time of happiness, but how you remember or what you're using this memory for is the most important. So I feel like the biggest thing for you guys right now with the Six of Cups is remembering a time of happiness and then believing that you can get back here. Or rather, recreating it in small ways. In small ways that has monumental effects. No matter how many ways or what way it is. Remembering is one thing. Being in that memory is another. What does that mean? Being in the moment of where you are. Like this situation, as difficult as this is with, treading through the snow and injured and cold, you can do something with this energy. You can do something with what you've got and make it the best night that you possibly can. You can make this life that you're living a utopia, even if it isn't looking like it's a beautiful house in front of with 20 cars in front of it. Like you can make the situation be as blissful as you want it to be. But the thing that's lacking is the emotional connection. It could be that the emotional connection is lacking, and it's not either. It could be from the other person. Maybe this other person is not very much engaged, or this person is involved. It's just that it's hard to see this person as who they once was. Now, I am getting a message here for some of you guys. This is exactly how you're living your life right now. You are actively trying to make this situation, or not trying to, but you are living in the moment of this relationship and seeing this Five of Pentacles as the Six of Cups. Some of you guys are already doing that. So I feel like with the 6 of Cups here, some of you guys truly see, no, like you don't even notice that the situation's bad. You don't even notice that this situation isn't bad. It's a process, but you don't see the situation as difficult. You don't see the situation as it's taxing. You guys see this exactly as someone that's in love, that's in the moment, that's experiencing something differently, that's out there. Some of you guys may be in a situation where you're not seeing the situation as clearly as it should be. It could be that you guys are in fantasy land in your head, and the situation outside of yourself is actually, it could use some work. The illusion that everything is fine when everything really probably isn't very fine. It could be better. But I kind of get this vibe that they could go either way with either of those. So of course, take what you will from those scenarios to apply it best to your own situation. Now, again, either way, you are in a position right now with the 6 of Cups in the state of remembering a time of which there was happiness in your life, right? True, when things were simple, things were pure. And I feel like, in a way, this is an inspiring memory. This is a very inspiring memory for y'all, because this allows you to take the risk needed to go about making those changes to be happy. And you can already tell that when you get to that place of where you're super happy, which can honestly happen now, aka, that you're going to hold on to it with all hands, with everything that you've got. Okay. So the 4 of Pentacles in your future tells me that you're going to be holding on to that. Like you holding on to a Gucci bag, or, or the next Jordans that are coming out. You just bought them. That you're going to be holding on to them shoes like nobody's business. And I'm not trying to say that your relationship is a similar relationship to shoes, but I am saying that they're precious. It's something precious and something you don't want to lose. And I can totally understand, especially if you're going through a difficult struggle at this time, at this moment. And it has to, and right now, even though it's like everything unfolded and unraveled, there's a break on top of it. So it's like the hits don't stop coming. So, your best path to follow is the Magician. You can manifest, and you have already manifested the process of being happy. What it looks like, what it feels like. That is in your world right now. It's happening and it's changing as we speak. But it doesn't matter if you know it. It matters if you believe it. Do you believe that you have the power to create this out of this? Happiness in pure happy feel, in pure loving feeling, out of, a place of lack and a place of, where there's not enough. Or rather, is there anything around you at this time, even if it is something small, something very, minute, can it make this situation make you feel like this? Perhaps going into the church will make you feel happy. Maybe having a good meal will remind you of this, a sense of bliss. Maybe having a talk, an innocent talk or communication, something in regards to your environment. Is there something you can do that can make you feel this way? Because right now, the purpose of everything is redirecting focus. It's to figure out where in you do you need to feel and how to sustain that to be able to get to this 10 of Cups. I don't think you guys mind the work, though. I feel like the hopes and fears is the 8 of Pentacles. You always want to work on something. The last thing y'all want to do is sit around waiting. And I feel like that's probably what's happening here. With the 4 of Swords, there's a time period you're in a time period where there's nothing happening. There's no changes. And you feel stuck because you feel like you can't move on without the other person, or you can't make progress without the other person, which is why there's a lot of waiting energy. There's a lot of dreaming. And then there's a lot of like, oh my God, we don't actually have anything really. Like there's very little to work with. But what you have left to work with which is you are not completely depleted. You are not ever left with absolutely nothing. Whatever this is, it's still giving you the ingredients to make this. And it all matters it all depends on how you see it, how you view it. The thing is with the Eight of Swords is that this person doesn't notice the things that are around them. She doesn't notice that there's an outlet, there's an escape, or there's a way to get out of the situation. She doesn't know that the way forward is open. But I kind of get this feeling that she does sense that there's no way back either. Even though there isn't a way for you to return, even though there isn't a way for you to take those steps back, there is so much going on forward that reminds you of what's going on in the back that you won't need to take the steps back. You can just take the steps forward. Hopefully that makes sense. Just because something is no longer doesn't mean that it can't still be something you can be happy with. Which is why I feel like the Ten of Cups is coming up so pronouncedly in this reading. You know what I mean? That's your outcome. And your outcome to me is saying that the happiness is right around the corner. But you notice it has nothing to do with Pentacles. There's nothing physical about this image other than the people there and the illusion in the sky, which is really the rainbow. Did you know that rainbows only appear when it's facing the opposite? It's on the opposite side of the sky from the sun. So it's creating. So it's the water in the air from the light that's shining on it that reflects a rainbow, the illusion of happiness. But we get the sense of joy, even if it isn't physically there. You may not be in a physical situation where things are dandy, but you are in a position to create beautiful feelings, beautiful experiences with what you got. And I don't feel like you guys are seeing this as, oh, I can't do anything. Not necessarily. I feel like for some of you guys, you may be feeling that, or like you are in a standstill. But I feel like for some of you guys, you just want something to work with. You just want something to work with. You want to do something. There you go. You got it. You are all that you need to work with. How can you be resourceful in your environment right now to create the happiness that you remember? Pretty big message, family. Let's see what we got going on from the Messenger Oracle, okay? Wow. Love without condition. And this is truly the Six of Cups, Five of Cups, and the Ten of Cups that we were looking at. Truly. Love without condition. Okay? So, I truly feel like that is literally what you guys may be wanting to feel, wanting to experience. Even though the environment don't look that great, you can still love and express and be without having all the lavish, luxurious things next to you. And I'm not trying to say that you guys are being super materialistic, but I'm also just telling you too that if you felt like you can't do very much because you have so little, think again, because you have everything that you need. And I feel like if you've been dying for something to work with, or you've been trying to get something to work for you, well, you've got the tools. It's just you have to look at what you've got. Wow. So we have Thinker, 44. And then Here and Now, focusing on the moment, man, 32. So, man, big messages. Everybody's getting some really deep messages this time around. But Thinker, man, is one of the biggest ones that I have to say I've been seeing repeats throughout this entire week. So, with the Thinker, that's definitely about taking a step back, taking a moment to acknowledge and absorb what you got going on right now, and also applying what you see and planning accordingly. Figuring out what you have to work with. Literally, Thinker is literally the meticulous strategy card, right? You're trying to think of a good strategy. You're trying to think of ways to make something work. And Here and Now is like the only thing you have to work with is what you have in the moment, what you have right now. You have just enough to be able to work with what you've got. And the attention that's needed at this moment isn't necessarily about how the past was better than what was now, but how you can make that feeling from the past be a current feeling now. And it's about seeing it and thinking about it differently. Thinking of love, feeling love from a source that isn't from the environment or how something has been structured or how something has been going. If this is a commitment or this is a relationship and it hasn't necessarily been the most supportive, or hasn't even been established quite yet, but there's something there, you have enough of that connection to make a relationship out of that. But it's going to take time for you to wield your energy, right? To be able to put forth your time and energy and make it happen, make it so. If you've done a lot in the past and you're still waiting for those to come and be, well, that's fine. But have you considered allowing things to just be? Right? If you're doing the work now, if you've already done the work here, perhaps in the physical work, right, of building trust and building a relationship that obviously can stand for two people to stand on. If you've been really working on it, is the emotional element been worked on? Because the Seven of Pentacles isn't about you've done everything that you could in the situation. It's not necessarily about that. Well, necessarily. It is, but it isn't. So when I mean that, obviously you've done the physical work that you could possibly do. You've been there, you've been supportive, you've done a lot of things, either financially, and you've put that energy forth. But when this is all said and done and there's nothing left to do, there's always something left to work on. And it's about reevaluating what other areas need touching up, what other things need sprucing up, what other things need help, what other things need work done. And I feel like the Seven of Pentacles is like, you done the hard work in some area, but now it's another area that needs your attention. So what I meant by that in the very beginning, by like, oh, you've done everything. You've done what you needed to do for this specific area, the Pentacles area. And that's in the process of being worked on. I don't think you can even do that by yourself, which is why there's a waiting period here too. But in the meantime, have you got the emotional stuff under wraps? Like, have you gotten that sorted out or figured out yet? And if you haven't, that's something that you can possibly try and work on right now, if you haven't been working on it already.